Good morning, everyone. This is Sharon. Today I am here to share a flip through with you of my latest creation. This is a smaller version of the Shabby Nature Journal I completed about a month ago. I had a customer who requested one that was similar, only a bit smaller. This one has a little bit more of a softer feel to it. I've wrapped it with this doily and some sari trim and a little piece of bling. And I've used this pretty kind of pinky red cover. And this doily that I wrapped around it is loose, so that can be removed. And this is what the cover looks like. Just got a really nice soft patina to it. I love the color. And then heading inside, you will see this one is very similar to the other one I made. I used a lot of the same papers and things, just some of the ephemera would be different. So on this first page, I've got this embossed velvet piece that I stitched to the page. My signature covers, I use the chapter 1 papers that I love so much. On this page, I created a top tuck that I stitched on, and in there I have this little paper bundle that I put together with this piece of ledger paper, and then in there, I've got a couple of items. This one, place to write under there, and then this one, this pretty image, and then that does open up with some journaling space in between. I've used similar pages. I've got a butterfly book that I like to use, and this beautiful lace paper. Here I attached a tag where I used a pressed flower. That's the back. This is a piece of vintage ledger paper, or from a notebook, and I just love the middle of this spread. I've used this paper here, this kind of bluish purpley paper, and then on the inside I did some stenciling. I just love the way the blues and the greens work together. I also did some decorative stitching on linen and attached that with some labels to the pockets. And then in the pockets I created 2 tags. And again, just used some of that pretty damask paper on the back. On this page, I used this faux calling card, and I stitched it onto a piece of satin fabric with a little bit of lace on the bottom. I have a couple of original antique calling cards that are attached to satin, and I just thought that was kind of a neat look. Here I've got another top tuck, and in there I've got this old onion skin invoice from 1923. On this page, I've clipped this kind of little folder that I made, and in there I made a couple of tags. This one, it's got some writing space on the back. And then this one, the fronts are postcard images, and then again, some place to write on the back. Here I've punched the edge of this page and folded it over. It's from a calendar book that I have. And then in there I've got this antique postcard of Paris. On the top of this page, I clipped this journaling card with this pretty bird, And I back that with some straw paper. And this is the table of contents from the book. This book is dated, I believe, about 1906. In the center of this spread, I added some beads to the strings. And then I've got these two decorative pockets with these embroidery images from tailor-made journals. And in those pockets, I created a couple of tags. These pretty ladies. Some original book pages. And then another bird image. This beautiful peacock image, I love that. And then on this side of the page, I clipped in some pieces of ephemera. Someone had asked me in the last one I made about these background pages that I've used. These are from Louisa Heinzel, and I just love those also. So in here I've got, from the original book, it was just a note that the book was awarded to Maury Fitzpatrick for perfect attendance. It's dated June 11th, 1906. And I wanted to make sure I kept that with the journal. And then I've got a page from a math book that can be used for journaling on the back. On this page, I have this little cluster with some cheesecloth, a piece of velvet, and this wax seal. I just added a little gilding on there. And then on this page, I add a little piece of lace. Here I created a page with this old vintage envelope. And then on this side, I added this pretty piece of embroidery for the pocket. And in there, I've got a couple of tags that I made. And this also was in the book. It's like an onion skin paper and just had a little note about school money on it. Here I clipped on an antique, well, an old check from, looks like 1933. And then on this side of the page, I clipped in this little folio type thing that I made. And it folds out, and I just put some brass brads on the top. And then the back is this botanical image. And then in there, I've got some several pieces of old papers and things, a lot of room to write. There's an old French book page. And then here on this page, this is a printable from Souvenir de la France. And I just added a little piece of linen on the top that I stamped. And then these, I put some stamps. These are sample stamps that I put in there. In the center of the signature, I've got these Italian ladies from Rachel at Roxy Creations. I love those. So what I did was I created these flips, and I just added these tabs onto this image, and that flips down. And there's room to write underneath there. And then I just created this tab across the top. So those can insert in there. And then this one goes from the top. So I've got the tab at the bottom, and that flips up. And I actually hinged these with some cheesecloth. Here on this page, I've got some dotted Swiss tulle. And then I just kind of trim that off at the top with some lace and decorative stitching. On this page, I clipped this journaling card. There's just, I added the strip here in the back so there's room to write. On this page, which is the other side of that envelope, I adhered this wax doily and just kind of made a side tuck out of that, and then inserted this vintage photograph of these two lovely people. On this page, I clipped this journaling card. I love this image. It's a book cover. And then on the back, got some coffee creamers and sugars and teacups and things. Here I created a pocket and trimmed it up again with some little bit of cloth and decorative stitching. And in there I've added this little journaling card. I just took a brad and attached this image, and that swivels, and then on the back side there's room to write. Here I created another cluster at the top with some fabric and paper, wax seal. This page flips out. There's room to write there. And then on the strings in this signature, I just added some stamps. And this is a page from a botanical book that I have. Here I created a side tuck with this decorative paper, and in there I stuck just this little two pieces of, this is a photo and journaling card. I stitched them together with a little piece of cloth and stamped on there, and then there's places to write on the back. And in there I also have this telegram from the 1950s. I trimmed the top of this page with a piece of lace. And then over the top of this page, I've got this journaling card that kind of flips up and over to the other side. Got these pretty images on there, and then on the inside there's plenty of room to write. On this page, I clipped a couple of pieces of ephemera. I've got this old French, I think it's, I don't know if it's a letter. There's some printing on there and some handwriting. It's kind of a neat piece. It's from 1987. Sorry, 1887, 1 century off. And then I also have this map fragment from a 1945 map with lots of space to write on the back. Excuse my kitty, she's talking to me. Okay. This page is a piece of antique ledger. And then on this side, I just wove some ribbon through there. And then here I created a top tuck with this butterfly image, and in there I've got this page from a stamp book. And then this postcard from Bellengrath Gardens, Mobile, Alabama. This page I created from a page of an embroidery book, a French embroidery book. Love the images on there. And on this side, I folded the page over to create this flip. And then in there, I have this journaling card, this girl. In the center of this signature, I made a couple of tabs on the sides with some old book parts and these labels. And the page actually can tuck in there and flip open. You can write on here. I did some stenciling on the back of this image, and then the same on this side. And this image looks like an old French ballroom. Here I've got another flip out from that embroidery page, and in there I tucked this vintage envelope and letter from the 1930s. And then this antique piece of advertising from an 1800s newspaper. Room to write on the back. You'll have to excuse me, I am recovering from a cold, so my voice isn't the best today. And then on the back of that clip, I just have this little piece. It's a waxed piece of a chandelier. Here I created a flip from that beautiful embroidered piece. And there's room to write underneath. And then on this page, I clipped this little writing spot. It's got this pretty paper on the front, and then this is one of the original book pages. So there's room to write there. And I just tack that in with a little bit of machine stitching up on top and the bottom there. And that takes us to the back side. So I hope you enjoyed that flip through today. I appreciate you coming along with me, and until next time, bye-bye.